Hi, my name is Akankshya Upadhyay and I am your English instructor. In today's class, we will go through the reading portion of Unit 10, which is describing events. Let's begin. In today's class, we will be going through an extract of an article, Yogmaya, Poet, Teacher, and Insertion. It reads, Yogmaya had a two-pronged agenda, not just one, explained Manamaya. Her first target was the cultural and religious oppression of the Thai. Her second object was our ruler, the Prime Minister, who along with her generals allowed corruption and inequality to prevail. Our master Shakti Yogmaya showed us how their two evils are intervened. She feared neither. Yogmaya launched brilliant and a daring political campaign from her base in the hills of East Nepal. It took place during the 1930s and ended in 1940 with her death, along with 68 of her followers who one by one followed into the thundering current of Arun River. After leading campaign for reform and justice, she finally confronted the ruler with an ultimatum. If you do not grant us justice, we will die, she declared. Juddha Shamsher responded by sending his armies round the protesters. The tragedy that resulted remains a stain on the government. The Nepalese authorities covered up the episode and banned all mention of her. Her campaign was thoroughly expunged from the nation's historical record and almost lost to its political consciousness. But the powerful verses composed by Yogmaya, the Hazubani, survived, and there lies a story. I am the child in your lap, you are the babe in mine. There is nothing between us, nothing at all. Your eyes have tears just like my own. On the surface of these lines may appear to be politically innocent, they are not. They embody the very principle of equality. They call for parity and mutual respect. Manamaya uttered another of Yogmaya's verses filled with praise of nature and also love of land or homeland. Supreme along peaks, this is our Himalaya, from where water flow. Arun merges with Barun, flows on to mingle with Irkua. These lines hint her political goal to move towards equality. Her effort to challenge the system is opposed by priests, the public, and the government. But still, Yogmaya attacks. Virtue stained by grief, justice undone by bribes. Though innocent, we lost, thus we twice punished. Eventually, Yogmaya's teachings became a comprehensive nonviolent political strategy she devised to bring it about. It began 4 decades before the United Nations sponsored an international convention on women. Yogmaya's movement went further because it included a call to end injustice among women and girls. This is a small extract that tells us a story about Yogmaya, about how determined she was to bring an end to injustice against women and girls. So it tells us about the sacrifice that Yogmaya had to do. Now we shall go through the exercise and try to solve few of them. First of all, we'll try to find the meanings of few words to enhance our vocabulary. The first word is utopian. Now what does the word utopian mean? It means an imaginary state in which everything is perfect or idealistic. Next word is ideal, and the meaning of ideal is satisfying one's conception of what is perfect or most suitable. Next word is ultimatum. Ultimatum means a final demand, the rejection of which will result in a breakdown in relation. The final word we will be writing the meaning about is feminist. So a feminist is a person who supports or recommends for the rights of women. Now we shall move towards the question and answer part, where we will answer few questions related to the text we just read. What were the 2 main agendas of Yogmaya? The answer is in the first paragraph, which reads, where Manamaya recites to us or says to us that Yogmaya had 2 targets. The first target was the cultural and religious oppression of the time. So the 2 main agendas were, we will list them up. The first one is the cultural and religious oppression of the time. And the second one is to prevail the ruler, the prime minister. What was Yogmaya's demand with the government? So Yogmaya's demand was to grant justice to women. We have this in the second paragraph, which reads, Yogmaya finally confronted the ruler with an ultimatum. If you do not grant us justice, we will die, she declared. So here, the statement says that her demand was to grant justice. The next question is, what is Hazurbani and why is it so popular? So we have the answer in the third paragraph, which reads, but the powerful verses composed by Yogmaya, the Hazurbani, survived. So this means Hazurbani is the powerful verses composed by Yogmaya. It is very popular because the story lies in the verse, or the story lies in the verses of Hazurbani. Next we have, how did Yogmaya die? So in the second paragraph we have, it took place during 1930s and ended in 1940, with her dead along with 68 of her followers, who one by one followed into the thundering current of the Arun River. So with this we know that Yogmaya might have first jumped into the thundering current of Arun River, and then the 68 others followed her. So we say she died with the thundering current of the Arun River. Now, as we've come to the end of today's class, we'll discuss few more questions for your homework. The first question is, what lesson did you learn from the text? And the second question is, what might have been the reaction of the government after Yogmaya's death? So these are two opinion questions I want you to solve. Let's discuss the first one. What lesson did you learn from the text? So the lesson that I have learned from the text is, no matter how much you try to hide things, it cannot be hidden. We can say this as we read the text. The Nepalese authority covered up the episode and banned all of her mention. Her campaign was thoroughly expunged from the nation's historical record and almost lost to its political consciousness. So this was a great revolution and the authorities tried to cover it up. However, as we are reading it today and we all know what had happened, so the lesson that I have learned is that these kind of things cannot remain hidden. And the second question is, what might have been the reaction of the government after Yogmaya's death? So I don't think the reaction would have been positive because, again, the authorities tried to cover all the episodes and banned all her mention because they did not like her and the campaign she was expunged too, and the campaign that she was conducting. Also because Yogmaya's verses always hint the political goal to move towards equality, and the government would not like that, as she was challenging the system run by the government. But I want you to write your thoughts, and you can go through the text one more time and then decide the answers to this question. In between, if you have any queries, any questions, any suggestions, or anything that you wish to share with us, please feel free to write to us at learning@deerwalk.edu.np. Thanks for watching.